Hi guys, welcome back. And thank you so much for being here. What's going on, guys? What's going on? Happy Sunday. I hope you guys are doing okay. Happy Sunday, guys. So this is a quick one. I just wanted to I wanted to come out and talk about this story of Nollywood actress Stella Damasus and her now ex-husband Daniel Ademinokan. So this is like wild. Let me tell you. Hold on. Okay. Yeah. So let me see if you guys can hear me before I start. Let me do a quick sound check. Okay. Just give me a second here. Okay. So the volume is good. Well, let me tell you guys, yeah. When I first saw this all started, where should I even start? Okay, so Stella Damaso's ex-husband is basically blasting her on social media, basically telling her to stop lying on him. You guys, when I first saw the video that went, the post, the interview that went viral a couple of days ago, where Stella Damasus tried to, in my opinion, rewrite history, I was low key hoping for this. I was low key hoping that the husband will come, the ex husband will come, who has now moved on. The guy has even remarried. The guy has even remarried. So I was actually hoping that he will come out and set the record straight. But I do remember thinking when I saw that article, I do remember thinking, this Stella, why do you not tell the truth? Why do you always rewrite history? She is the embodiment of a revisionist historian. Okay, I don't know, maybe you're trying to like curb the new generation, but we all saw what happened though. Madam Stella, we saw what happened. We were witness to how you allegedly snatched the man from his wife. Not only did you snatch this man from his wife, allegedly, you also made sure that you took the man and the wife's son. So for a very long time, that boy was with you guys in America. I believe you guys were in Georgia or something, while the mom was going crazy because the man had taken the child. When things happen like this, yeah, I always wonder this whole situation with Jeff Bezos, and I'm going somewhere, bear with me. This whole situation with Jeff Bezos and Laura Sanchez had me thinking over the weekend about karma, about if karma really does exist. I mean, fundamentally, at the back of my mind, I do believe that what you do, you pay for it. That's basically the essence of karma. But sometimes when you see certain things happen and the people who have done bad things moved on and actually gone on to succeed, it really does make me wonder sometimes. Like I was looking at this Jeff Bezos because allegedly he was cheating on his wife with Laura Sanchez, and she found out about it, and so she asked for divorce. Fast forward to a few years down the line, the woman that he cheated on, that he cheated with, he now married the woman that he cheated with, and his wife is still there. So that had really made me question the whole validity, the whole argument about karma, if people really do get what's coming to them. But then again, we are also just hearing one side of the story, right? We don't know the full picture. We don't know that the universe had judged, they've made judgments, and they realized that Jeff Bezos and Laura Sanchez, they did nothing wrong, and they have every right to move on. So we don't really know. But then comes something like this Stella Damasus and Mr. Daniel Ademinokan. And it has really got me thinking. I was like, okay, it looks like karma. Because the way that this thing happened, the way that the man dumped her, it's one for the ages. So she's now coming out to claim that she found out about the divorce. She's now coming out to claim that she found out about the divorce online, which the man has basically come out to like refute and basically unequivocally say it's not true at all. She didn't find that online. He's even going as far as saying that even sharing receipts and letting everybody know that what she's saying is not true. That he even sent her an email asking for her address. So that's what the man is now pushing back and basically telling his side of the story. So let me first of all quickly go ahead and read this article from LIB. It says, actor Daniel Ademinokan calls his ex-wife Stella Damasus for claiming she found out about their divorce online. They got separated in 2020, and according to Stella, she found out about their divorce online. Daniel, in his post on IG, shared screenshots of an email Stella sent to him asking for an address to send the divorce um, papers to. He stated that he stated that he left the marriage for his peace and that of his son. He revealed that his son suffered physical assault while he and Stella were married, and that his son had to even conceal an injury with makeup when he was going to school. Daniel used to be married to actress Doris Simon, and they shared a son together. Their union packed up, and then he moved to marry Stella, but their marriage ended after a few years. He has gone to marry again and has even welcomed a son with his current partner. So the guy has moved on, as men oftentimes do. If one road closed, they go just open another one or open window. They don't care. That's the reason why if you're letting, I always tell people, if you're not using your mind and you're letting these men control you, guess what? Eventually go see reach your body. But that's not where it ends. So this guy is now pushing back on what Stella is claiming. Let me even see if I can find the article again where Stella was claiming that she didn't know about the separation, that she only found out about it online like everybody else. Okay, let me see. Let me go ahead and let this play while I look for it. Okay, I am back. And this is the interview in a nutshell. So this is what she posted. And Stella also, I have noticed, always like to play the widow's card. Oh, oh, her late husband. Oh, her late husband this and her late husband that. Her late husband this and her late husband that. She always liked to play the widow's card as well. And yeah, madam, your late husband passed away a long time ago. And not only have you been married ever since, you've been married at the very least a couple of times since your late husband passed away. So give me a break with that one. Again, when I saw this article about Stella and talking about her divorce and talking about whatever, it was just so obvious that she was trying to rewrite history. And that didn't sit well with me. So this is what she posted. This was during an interview that she did. So she says, after the death of her first husband, let me read it the way that she was like, after the death of my first husband, I was still mourning, but the words chose to misunderstand me. I cried for so long, but eventually I decided to give love another chance. My second husband had also gone through a divorce with his first wife. We bonded over our shared pain and hopes for a better future. I left everything I was doing in Nigeria, my career, my life, and took my kids to be with him. We moved abroad and started a new life together. We were together for 9 years. Then one day, he woke up and said he was traveling to another city. I didn't suspect anything, only for me to go online and see divorce papers. He didn't even have the decency to talk to me about it. He had already signed them and sent someone to give me the papers to sign. That's how I found out. Later, I discovered it was because he had found another woman, someone he went on to marry, but life turned around and that woman eventually showed him her true colors. He started doing all the cooking and cleaning himself. People accuse me of snatching someone else's husband, but that's not true. He told me they were already divorced when we got together. So this is what she posted. As somebody who has been in the social media streets, and I obviously I don't know the intricacies of their life, but based on what I know, Stella, in my opinion, is rewriting history. Stella, in my opinion, is embellishing. My opinion, okay. But I knew that this was going to trigger her husband, her ex-husband, to come out and give his side of the story. And that's essentially what he did. Because he went out on social media and basically told her to stop lying on him. He told her to stop lying on him before she makes him angry and he starts talking. He even shared some really disturbing situations that to me I thought was really disturbing. He talked about how his small child used to use makeup to cover certain parts of his body just to avoid people from seeing the bruises on his body. That's a small child. Like, that is crazy. Oh, again, sleeping dog, she won't let sleeping dog lie. And the whole marriage was a sham. Like, it was so obvious. She was always posting on his social media, putting on a narrative because he knew that people were waiting. He knew that there were people waiting to see her fail because of the narrative and because of what has been said as far as what happened to their relationship goes. He knew that people were waiting to see them fail. And so what did she do? She will then start posting lovey-dovey content, praising herself allegedly from the guy's social media page to make it seem as though the guy is so happy, the guy is so in love, the guy is exactly where he wants to be as far as the relationship was concerned. So she did a whole lot that you don't even need to do, unless of course you're trying to put on for the gram, you're trying to convince people that yeah, you are very happy, life is good and rah rah rah. So let me go ahead and so this is what he posted. He says, I usually don't dignify nonsense with a response, but when silence gets mistaken for ignorance or guilt, it's only fair to offer a quick 5 minutes reality check. Today is your lucky day. Mm. So continuing, he said, Dear Queen Mother, Dear Queen Mother, 5 years since the separation, 3 since the divorce, still you just can't let go. I've said nothing, I've seen nothing, I've done nothing since 2020, but somehow I'm still living rent free in your narrative. Let me be clear, silence is not guilt, distance is not weakness. Distance is not weakness, but lies, especially ones I have receipt for, that's a different story. I have watched you twist facts with confidence, assuming no one is paying attention. But now that you've mistaken grace for guilt, I will ask you to choose your next story wisely because I came with footnotes. Okay? Again, let me pause and say this. Stella, in my observation, has a tendency of rewriting history. This is just something that I have observed. It hasn't sat well with me, and I always feel like you're not going to grow, or at least you're not opening yourself up to grow if you're going to keep misrepresenting what happened, rewriting history, being a revisionist historian. You are not going to grow because our experiences are supposed to let us grow. But if you cannot even have an honest conversation with yourself about what actually happened, tell me how you're going to grow. Growth is not going to be possible for people who never want to take accountability, for people who never even want to like be honest about what truly happened, the true nature of things. Growth cannot happen. Okay? Stella, in my opinion, is in the habit of misrepresenting things, okay? Remembering things a certain way, or just flat out lying about certain situations and certain scenarios. Is very problematic. Again, in order for you to grow, you must first acknowledge your mistakes. You must first acknowledge your past misdeeds. If you're not acknowledging your past misdeeds, if you're not acknowledging your mistake, tell me how you're going to grow. You will not grow now. It's not possible. It's not easy. So continuing, Mr. Ademinokan says, Queen Mother, let's not rewrite history just because the internet has a short attention span. Exactly. You claim in that little interview with your echo chamber that you found out about the divorce on YouTube. Lie. You claimed I signed and sent you the divorce paper that you were not aware of. Another lie. Quick reality check. Who filed for divorce? You do realize that's public record, right? But don't worry, I'll post the receipt. A little reminder, just in the case of selective memory, is setting in. So what he's insinuating is basically that she was the one, and at least that's what he's insinuating, that she was the one that filed for divorce. Again, my this is kind of iffy to me. My perspective on this is this: just because somebody filed for divorce does not necessarily mean that they wanted that divorce, that they wanted that relationship to end. It might be an ego thing. It might be something that they do, thinking that this will wake the person up to do right by them or behave themselves or try to like work things out. But that only works for people who still are invested in making the marriage work. Like when you're trying to divorce somebody who already is 1 foot at the door. In fact, both feet are already at the door. Trying to like divorce will just make them, it would just make you be doing for them what they did not have the courage or the basic human decency to do. And I say basic human decency because I feel like when it comes to divorce, when it comes to marriage, if it's not working out, don't sit around there waiting for the person to make the first move, because that's you just stringing the person along. I love marriage. I believe in people fighting for their marriage. But even the Bible says, can two walk together except they agree? So marriage may be wonderful, may be great, the institution, but if one person is already checked out and that person is like not even invested, not willing to invest in that marriage anymore, then what can you do? But if you are the one person who has checked out and you know that the next person is just holding out hope because you haven't really come out to say what you want, how about you say what you want so that you guys can get the ball rolling, so that everybody can know exactly where they stand, as opposed to just punishing yourselves, forcing yourself to remain in a marriage that you really have no business being in anymore. Okay, so what he's claiming here is that she's the one who filed for divorce. And she's the one, what she's claiming with regards to how the whole thing transpired, what she's claiming is essentially what she did. So that's the vibe that I'm getting for you. But from all of this, but let's keep going. He says, quick reality check: who filed for divorce? And I'm guessing that she did. You do realize that's public record, right? But don't worry, I'll post the receipt. A little reminder just in case selective memory is setting in. So he posted the receipt here. So supposedly this is the email that was dated on Thursday, July 29, 2021 at 9:04 p.m. Stella Damasus. And so it says, hello, Daniel. I hope this email finds you well. I am writing to you today because I have decided to move forward with the divorce process. Based on the recent events, it is evident that there is no hope that this marriage will work anymore. In December 2020, when you decided to leave our home, separate our family, and then called me to say that you were not coming back, it became clear that our marriage was over. As matured adults, I believe the next step will be to have a civil and painless divorce, process and go our separate ways so that we both can move on without dragging our families into it. Okay. So from this particular one, obviously she's the one, but also, again, I also feel a sense that this Mr. Daniel Ademinokan is being manipulative here. I had not even seen this part when I was talking about how don't you should not string people along when a divorce is no longer, when a marriage is no longer working and divorce is the only way out, the only viable option. Don't string people along. It appears to me, according to this email, that Stella had to file for divorce after he moved out. So that's the vibe that I am getting from this. That Stella filed for divorce with every indications. Maybe by the time that Stella decided to file for divorce, maybe she has already got information that the guy has already impregnated the woman that he moved on with. So for me, I wouldn't necessarily say, oh, but Stella was the one that filed for divorce. I would say that Stella was the one that did something that Mr. Ademinokan didn't want to do for whatever reason. Maybe he was trying to like preserve his image, or he didn't want to come across as the one who filed for divorce or whatever, But it's very obvious based on the letter that she wrote that the marriage had been over, and there was no coming back. She even referenced something that happened recently at the time, which basically made her come to the realization that that marriage is never going to work anymore. And the fact that he's even saying this now, and this is his own email, and you guys know I'm not a fan of Stella, You can, like, you should already be able to tell from the my position and like when this video started. But I do feel like Mr. Daniel Ademinokan is a bit of a manipulator. That's the sense that I'm getting from the thing that he's saying, that he's trying to make it seem as though, oh, Stella was the one that filed for divorce. But Oga, you moved out of the home, according to her. Okay, you moved out of the home in September of 2020, and less than 2 months before it's a year, that's like more than 10 months later. So what's she supposed to do? Be waiting? Especially when she basically referenced a recent event that happened that made it very clear that, he doesn't want the marriage to work out anymore. He's ready to move on. So I kind of sense a bit of manipulation in Mr. Ademinokan's um interpretation of what happened. So yeah, maybe instead of saying divorce, maybe Stella should have said something else. Maybe Stella should have said something like, maybe Stella should have said something like, in light of you moving out of the home, it became clear to me, instead of, because I know that even before they announced it, the story, the rumors were already floating on social media, okay, that he had moved on with another woman. So maybe she wants to pretend as if she didn't know. Somebody moved out for 10 months. Maybe he he was she was expecting that maybe he will come back. I don't know. And maybe that, instead of saying that, but that was not all she said. She even said that the letter, he had somebody send her the letter. Yeah, she lied. She allegedly, based on this evidence that he's providing, yeah, she also embellished, not even small white lie. She told the big one. So the two of them deserve each other. Oh, honestly, yeah, she told the big one because according to what she said, he um she found out about it, and then he gave somebody. She found out about it online, and then he had somebody bring it, and that's what he's saying, and he's saying that's not what happened. The two of them, you guys were very deserving of each other. Okay, so continuing, she says, as mature adults, I believe the next step will have will- I believe the next step will be to have a civil and painless divorce process and go our separate ways so that we both can move on without dragging our families into it. And then she also said, so I kindly request that you send me a physical address for the papers to be delivered directly to you. If you are not comfortable sending me your address, you can send it to my lawyer, Barrister Ernest Izedomen. Blah, blah, blah. Thank you, and I await your positive response, Stella Damasus. So that's the letter. So, and then is this another one? There's another letter also from Stella, and it says the letter is titled very very urgent. Hello Daniel, I'm not sure if you received my previous email included in the thread below, so I have decided to send a follow-up email. As stated in the previous email, I have decided to move forward with the divorce process for reasons stated in said email. I kindly request that you send me a physical address for the papers to be delivered directly to you. If you're not comfortable sending me your address, you can send it to my lawyer, Barrister Ernest Izodomen. And then thank you, and I still await your positive response, Stella Damasus. So she sent another email, and this one was August. The last one was in The last one was July 29, 2021. And this one was August 1st. Okay. So that would have been um 3 days later. She sent another one. So he posted her message, her emails, but he did not post his own response. Mm. Yeah, I see this guy as a manipulator. Yeah, I see him as a manipulator. Please, guys, hit the like button. Facebook, YouTube. I beg una, please like the videos, please. Help, help, help. Help by liking the video. Thank you. I see this guy as a bit of a manipulator, in my opinion, because he's also not sharing. He's sharing her email, but he's not sharing her. He's not sharing his response to her. Okay, so yeah. So he continued and he wrote this. This is what he wrote on his social media. He says, "Yes, I moved out, not out of drama, but out of self-preservation, for my sanity and for my son's safety. I won't unpack the full extent of what he endured, but let's just say when a child needs makeup to hide a scar before school, the damage runs deeper than the skin. He's alive, he remembers, and so do I." No, this one shockalized me. And I hope that this is not just another one of his gaslighting and manipulation, because I have already concluded that the guy manipulates. Okay. But I am hoping that this is not one of that. But like, if this is true, and I wait for Stella to come and give her side of the story, especially with regards to this, if this is true, that because that's what he's insinuating. If he's saying that, for self-preservation, he had to move out, for his sanity and for his son's safety, he had to move out, that means he's implying that his son was not safe on while his son was with Stella, while they were with Stella, and the injury that he speaks of were inflicted on his son by Stella. That's the implication. And this is massive. This is major. Okay. And this is why I'm going to need Stella to come and address this. Really, 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 really quick and fast. I'm going to need Stella to come and address whether he was physically abusing the child to the point where the child was needing makeup to hide the scar. Like, that's like, whoa, that's like Ninja-ish right there. Okay. Okay. So continuing, he says, "You screamed at me boldly. I don't want to be here, but I have to be here." So that's what he says she screamed. "You screamed at me boldly. I don't want to be here, but I have to be here." Mm, 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 mm. I guess you remember how I was talking about how you remember how I was talking about how a lot of the marriage, a lot of the issues that happen, a lot of the behavior during that marriage just felt like Stella wanted so badly to win. She wanted so badly to win because she knew that there were so many people who were not in support because of the way that the marriage thing happened. And she knew that those people were just lurking in the shadows, lurking in the corners, waiting for her to fail. And so, according to Mr. Ademinokan, saying that Stella was screaming at him boldly, saying, "I don't want to be here, but I have to be here," what that meant was that at some point during the relationship, Stella obviously was confronted with the fact that marriage was not working anymore. The relationship was like kaput, beyond repair. And she knew that the marriage was no longer giving her joy, giving her happiness. And that's why she said she didn't want to be there, but she had to be there. if everything that Mr. Ademinokan is saying is true. That means she knew that it was not even in her best interest to remain in that marriage anymore, but she stayed because of what people will say, because she knew that people were lurking in the shadows, just waiting to shame her, waiting to say, ha ha, what did you think was going to happen after you snatched Doris Simon's husband? Of course, he was going to treat you the same way. Of course, the marriage was not going to last. So she knew, she felt like people were going to shame her. And that's the reason why, and that's the vibe I'm getting. Okay, me, I'm just giving my own interpretation. You guys can interpret it your own way, but my interpretation to this is that at some point she knew that she didn't want to be in that marriage anymore, but she continued to stay because it became a matter of peppering the haters, peppering the naysayers, not giving the naysayers what they were waiting for. Even if you are chopping shit, even if you are putting, if like, even if you're going through the worst thing in life, she was enduring all of it because she didn't want people to shame her. That's the vibe I'm getting from this. So he said, you screamed at me boldly. I don't want to be here, but I have to be here. I beg, what's left for a man to do when his own home starts sounding like a hostage situation? But this Mr. Ademinokan, you dey manipulate, sha? Ah, you dey manipulate, you dey gaslight. Sheesh. So because say she don't want to be here, then why did you wait for her to? Is that why you waited for her to be the one to also file for divorce? Because from the timeline, it took 10 months. Mm. Now, wow. Anyways, let me keep reading. I beg, what's left for a man to do when his own home starts sounding like a hostage situation? Continuing, he said, you knew I was leaving. You knew I wasn't coming back. I packed my son, oh, yeah. I think I believe that he knew that she knew that he wasn't coming back. Anyways, he says, you knew I wasn't coming back. You knew I was leaving. You knew I wasn't coming back. I packed my son, my peace, and my entire life and walked out the front door in broad daylight. You watched me leave that Sunday morning. Wow. Let me read that again because this is juicy. You knew I was leaving. You knew I wasn't coming back. I packed my son, my peace, and my entire life and walked out the front door in broad daylight. You watched me leave that Sunday morning. Ah, Stella, how market? This one enter. Mm. So he continues and he says, Wale and Linda are still alive and well in Dallas. We all had these conversations. You knew what you did, and more importantly, you knew the truth. Mm. Could that have been the last straw? Could that have been the last straw for Mr. Ademinokan? Could the last straw have been that she allegedly did what he's alleging she did to his son? But can you imagine, like, I'll come to this in a bit. Let me just finish reading his write-up, his post. So he went on to say, let me say this clearly. Now, the beginning of fight, person they know. Nobody they know how you go end. Abio. Now, the beginning of fight, person they know, meaning you only know the beginning of a fight. You don't know how it ends. Um, so he goes on to say, let me be. Just as I have left you in peace, I've chosen a more private life now, so I don't drag me. I've chosen a more private life now, so don't drag me into your soap opera. You've had your 5 minutes from me, over and out, Daniel. Mm. Um, he don't drop bomb. And you don't talk say over and out. So because of the allegations that he made, of course there will be the expectation for Stella to come and tell her side, for Stella to come and give her peace. No, but seriously, this is crazy. And now I'm thinking, could that have been the last straw? Could the scar that she allegedly left on his son have been the last straw for him to be like, I'm not doing this? And also, like, who does that? Who put their hands on their son, on a child, so much so that the child was needing makeup before the child could go to school? Like, that's just crazy. Stella better come and address this one, eh? Okay, Stella better come and address, because these are very incendiary allegations, very inflammatory allegations. And it's just so heartbreaking that while the mother of the child was fighting tooth and nail, running mad, and wondering about how her son was faring with his father and his father's new wife, come to find out that her fears and her worries were actually being manifested in that her son was being allegedly abused. So much so to the point where the boy was needing makeup. Can you imagine? That's like every mother's worst nightmare. For a mother whose son was just yanked away from her, like in the most unceremonious way, to be worried about what might happen to that son, constantly worried about how the other woman is treating her son, only for her fears, only for her worries to be made a reality. Can you imagine? And this was not even a situation of this woman walking away and leaving her son with the father. No, this was something that was done without her consent, without her approval. So yeah, Stella better come and address this one, because this one gone gone. This one gone gone. Hmm. Let me see the comments. Hi Trudy. Hi Bondivine. Happy Sunday to you. Covenant Worship says that's a very serious allegation. Hi Jade. Hi Covenant Worship. And Covenant Worship says it doesn't matter if he has moved out of the house. If authorities find out, both of them have questions to answer. Well, a long time had passed. They can also take into consideration the fact that, they are not even married anymore. And they can also take into consideration the fact that the dad subsequently removed the son from that situation, meaning, he took proactive steps to ensure that the boy was safe. So all those things can factor into who can actually get into trouble. Stella might get into trouble if they decide to pursue, depending on the statute of limitation, among other things. But as far as the dad, I think the fact that at least on his post, he's claiming that he removed he removed himself and his son from that situation because of, what happened. So I think he might actually, get away with facing some kind of penalty for that. But yeah, Stella, Stella, Stella. This one is serious. So the allegations that your ex-husband leveled against you are serious. Okay. I'm gonna wait and see how she responds to this. I'm gonna wait and see how she responds to this. I'm gonna wait and see. But yeah, she didn't want to be here, and that was very telling to me. That's why I read it out twice. She didn't want to be there. Again, it just kind of made the point that I was trying to make, just kind of confirmed the point, my suspicion and what I have always felt about that marriage. Because Stella knew that there were people who were going to mock her. And so she stayed longer than she needed to stay in a marriage that was bringing her nothing but sadness and misery. That and in of itself is karma right there, let me tell you. But yes, guys, let me know what you guys think in the comment, like and share. I will catch you later.